Oh, I just unmute the microphone there. Not mic, microphone. And I'll unmute Stephen's track.
Uncle.
Where the audio plays. Well, hello everybody and welcome into this Monday's MBE podcast, whatever this is. It's a podcast, Stephen. I am John Christopher Walsh, you know that. That wasn't supposed to be connected. I said it's a podcast, Stephen, and then went in to introduce myself, as if Stephen doesn't know my name. I'm John Christopher Walsh, I'm the host on the stream.
What's a podcast?
What is a podcast? What is life? We are all but atoms, swimming around in the cosmic sort of soup that is the universe. And joining me to the left is Stephen John McLaughlin, he's the co-host. Stephen, we're going to be discussing Star Wars in numerous levels. Really, there's been a lot happening with Star Wars recently. Mark Hamill was threw somewhat of a grenade into the mix. He's called out JJ. He's not happy with JJ. No one's happy with JJ. And I'm not happy with his daughter because that song is fucking doing my head in. It's on the radio all the time. Shite. Pish. But we'll go on to that. Obviously, Kathleen Kennedy leaving.
Yeah.
It's fucking terrible. It's a terrible song. I'll send it over. It's my...
I don't get the link. What's this?
It's crazy. Abrams. J.J. Abrams' daughter. Not happy with JJ, not happy with his daughter for putting out shite music. He put Rick Beato onto that. I'm sure he's covered it already. But Stephen, primarily, we're going to be discussing, and I put it on the thumbnail, is this the future? Well, I mean, it is. And I put in the title, it's a shite title, incidentally, I couldn't think of anything better. Can we get the update? The title is, Can AI fan films save Star Wars? And the reason I said that is because I think Star Wars is in a bit of a pickle. We've got this Rogue Squadron, no, not Squadron, fucking, it is Rogue Squadron, isn't it, with Ryan Gosling.
Starfighter.
Yeah. That's coming out shortly. Apparently there's going to be a Jedi in there. How's that work? I don't know. It's meant to be a Starfighter pilot.
Yeah.
But we'll get Jedi in there. Why not? That's coming out. I'm intrigued to see where that goes. That with the first Disney greenlit Star Wars movie in what, 7 years?
7 years, yeah.
That's coming out. So that will be intriguing on some level. But Stephen, I think the brand, the IP of Star Wars has been tarnished and damaged almost irreversibly, is that even a word, by Kathleen Kennedy and her minions over the course of the last 10 years. And I think it will be up to the fans to save it.
You are a fan of Star Wars, and you missed out the Mandalorian and Grogu film. That's the interest you've got in this franchise at the moment. You're not even that interested.
I hate Grogu. I hate that little bastard.
No, I totally agree. And I think in terms of just any anticipation of anything coming out from the studio is just it's not as it used to be. It's been I think this is 10 years this year since Rogue One. I think that was the last great Star Wars film to come out, and certainly from the Disney collection, it's the only one that really is up there with anything from the George Lucas era, I think anyway. You know, and obviously we had the spin-off, obviously with Andor, which was fantastic, John, but there's been more misses and hits. That's the problem. The Rey thing's still lingering about as well. That's not been taken off the table at all. So that's another film that's in the pipe work as well. I'm not really, as much as both you and I are massive fans of Ryan Gosling, I've got no interest in seeing this film at all. It's disconnected nonsense. It's just, I'm not looking for episode 10 or whatever it may be. I'm not looking for that. But is this where we're going with Star Wars? Just random films and random times, and they're one-offs, one and dones. You know, are they testing the water with this film to see if perhaps maybe they can, you know, recycle some sequels out of it or something? I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, Ryan's 45, so he's a little bit older than even what Harrison Ford was in the original Star Wars trilogy. I think he's around about my age, maybe a little bit older, to be fair. I don't have to look into that. So I don't know about longevity of taking that character and making movies into a series with him and his travails. But certainly, Steve, that's probably what they're hoping for. Don't get me wrong, you look at the cast is very impressive. Amy Adams is in there, Matt Smith's in there, Daniel Wings. It's got a great cast, to be fair. But I'm with you, Stephen. I just would have preferred to have, in hindsight, not have touched the Skywalker saga. Try to create their own sort of sandbox within the galaxy somewhere. With new characters in a new location, and then build out from there. And then when they built up some goodwill and shown their excellence and being able to manage projects and films and also make interesting stories that are worthy of the Star Wars brand, then they could go and tackle the Skywalker saga. Because look, they've made a complete arse of it. Shot off a lot of fans. I'm wondering. I just can't get back and watch the sequel trilogy, and I can't remember the last time I watched the original trilogy, and that was an annual thing for me.
Because you know it's
the prequels. Yeah. So it's tarnished it. And that really goes into the crux of where we're at here, Steve. There's a whole host of AI channels popping up, music, film, and all walks of life in terms of art. And they're creating obviously interesting fan films. A lot of it's buffed out of the actual expanded universe stuff, stories, and some of it's probably completely original, some of it's hypothesising what would happen to Anakin after the events of Revenge of the Sith, obviously after the events of in between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. And also Steve, when these came out initially, we were intrigued by them. I think it was Skywalker stories or something like that. Yeah, Star Wars stories. I've actually got a couple of channels up, but I can't see that Skywalker stories. We reacted to one, it was pretty decent, but that was a year and a bit back. And AI is just... The improvement is terrifying. Stephen Beams fans, we've covered it numerous times on this channel. You would not have been able to do dissect all the audio from Lennon's tracks from the late 70s and also create the studio quality audio that we got for now and then. Freeze a bird, real love. But the AI progression in the last few years has made that possible. And also I've seen what it can do in a visual medium as well with some of the stuff, colorisation. I don't know if I sent you one recently, there was one in the garden. It's a little bit demented. There was one, I think it was... fucking can't remember, Sweden or something. The She's a Woman performance. That performance, the colorised, fucking unbelievable. So we're getting there, and we're getting there rapidly. And the stories are there. And the ingenuity's there, fan base. Steve, do you think that this is the saviour for Star Wars as a brand? Are you done with Disney? Because also we'll get into Kathleen Kennedy shuffling off, Filoni, this other women coming in, doing the sort of finance stuff. Are you done with Disney? Would you now look to maybe what you're consuming like fan content in the future if it gets to high enough standard?
I think eventually, John, there'll be bleed over, I think, in terms of where these YouTube videos are heading and where they have came from. We were only talking 12 months ago with the Skywalker Story YouTube channel, and I think the guy actually spoke to us, didn't he? Because I think he watched one of our, I don't know if it was a reaction or a review we were doing at the time, in one of the videos that he'd put together, and it was more a production side of things we were looking at in terms of the sort of pan and scan, sort of reverse sort of looping that was going on and stuff like that. And it wasn't a criticism or anything like that, because certainly we're no experts, we can't do things like that in terms of film. But I'm very much interested to see what fans think of these videos that are cropping up every day now, in multiple channels across YouTube. I always go to your main man, Theory.
Star Wars Theory, yeah.
I think, and I've been watching a few of his videos today and yesterday, just reacting to these fan-made films, and just interesting to see from that perspective, because you and I have talked about the sort of the detail is the most important part of any of these sort of creations at the moment. And you're picking out the materials and the clothing now, very detailed clothing.
Stephen, honestly,
There's one I watched, John, that was Luke and Leia, and Luke was introducing Leia to the Force, and Star Wars theory was saying this is what Lucasfilm and Disney should be doing, and I was thinking that they're not going to do that. They're not going to have Luke mansplaining to Leia about the Force, although they should. They'll not do that, you know. But he was picking up on things like the fluff on Leia's chin and stuff like that, and little details like that, you know. So they are getting there in terms of the.
You're not going to bring up some stuff here.
The quality is something else. I mean, it's still not picture perfect, John, and this was the thing Star Wars theory continually asked: why are Lucasfilm and Disney not doing this? Because I don't believe, as good as it is, it's very good. It's not excellent yet. It's still jarring, and that's not to say that it's off the table, because Disney and Lucasfilm, to be fair, have done it with Rogue One with obviously Tarkin, and they've done it with Luke Skywalker and the Mandalorian series as well. Some what's the Andy Serkis technology called again? The
mocap, yeah.
They did mocap obviously with Tarkin, and they've done some deep fake with the Skywalker, but this is AI, so it's another level of technology they're looking at here. But it's getting so close now that I wouldn't write off Disney just yet in terms of using this technology, because they have got multiple actors all signed on the dotted line for their likeness for the rest of eternity. So I don't think they're doing that. I don't think they're doing that for no reason. They're doing it because they see this as the future.
Yeah.
I don't know how many years we are for a proper film using AI with our beloved characters, because we're at the stage now. Our beloved actors are too old to play their younger selves. That's life. That's what happens. We all get older.
That's the big issue, Stephen. Just the sort of human touch in the performance. That's one thing that I feel is definitely missing from this, and the obvious reason is not getting an actual human displaying the emotions, vocalising the dialogue. It's a machine. It's also taking commands and what do they call it again? What's the prompts?
Yeah.
And then running with it, creating all this content. There's a degree of behind it. Steve spoke about the biggest canyon one.
Yeah.
And I think that guy has came from working in the industry. I don't know his background, but I'm pretty sure Star Wars theory covered it. I think he's got some sort of history in the film industry. He understands shots and obviously creating a story and putting it together in a cinematic way, and that certainly ticked all the boxes. Wide shots, the way it was panning. You're seeing people starting who are talented in terms of the filmmaking side of things, knowledge, starting to put these 10, 15 minutes long, putting them together. And it's borderline. I mean, that's a short film. I've watched films with David Bowie, for fuck's sake, and reviewed them. Were shorter than this. So we're getting it. I don't want to play on it because I don't know about copyright. But the one thing that's also going to be missing is the performance. So that's the only thing. I don't know how you would get round that. Also with deceased actors, they can't perform for something longer alive. So, but in terms of living, I don't know if you maybe at some point utilise the technology and still have a degree of voice acting performance or whatever, where you're getting human touch. It's a blend of the two. Obviously, you're not going to completely remove live action acting from cinema. That's not going to happen.
You don't want to create anything from nothing. It goes back to obviously the Beatles thing, John, when people were questioning the AI on it. It's not conjuring up a song from thin air, and it's the same with Star Wars films. I don't want AI generated films. But in terms of situations like Mark Hamill's too old to play Luke Skywalker after Return of the Jedi, right after Return of the Jedi. This is where you utilise this technology. But it's not there yet. You're absolutely right. I think in terms of the emotion, it eventually will come. It'll just be, they're getting the details in terms of visuals right at the moment. And movement is the next thing. And movement is a big part of emotion. So it's really just... it's just a matter of time. I think in the next 5 years, we will see some Disney / Lucasfilm produced AI characters.
Steve, is that far removed from say, Clone Wars or Rebels? or some of the sort of anime Star Wars content we got 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. Is it that far removed? Essentially, you're utilising a different medium of storytelling. You can then take your Sam Whitlots and guys like that, put them in there and they can perform the role. I think the way that this is evolving, for fuck's sake, look at this. Look at the evolution. This would not have been possible a year ago. This would not have been possible a year ago. There's still issues in there. But even the soft focus you've got, again setting up shots, he's looking at
and I think you can see some shots from the actual films. You know yourself, because you've watched films that often, you can see some angles and you could go, that's from Empire. That part there's from Jedi. You can see it, and they're obviously uplifting from existing material as well, which is not a bad thing. So in terms of detail, that's the most important part of this. But no, I think in terms of maybe the next 5 years, I think we might see Disney, Lucasfilm producing some AI characters in, rotoscoping them into obviously live action. I think that's probably the way forward, because then you can have the presence of the AI Luke Skywalker, in and around actual actors, and it's getting there, but it's still a long way off. And even these YouTube channels, that we're talking about, they're very good, but they're not perfect. They're not excellent.
No.
They're really interesting. John, there was one, I think it might have been Star Wars Skywalker Stories, sorry. It's the story as well. You've got to make sure the story's intriguing as well. I've seen some great ones, and I've seen some ones that I want to like because it's characters I like Count Dooku. They got, obviously, Christopher Lee's sort of 1960s James Bond look. For a younger Dooku. I'm like, this is a great idea, but obviously the animation's just not there in the mouth yet and stuff like that. So there's great potential.
Stuff like this though, where we're almost blending Rebels and Clone Wars and that sort of mythology or lore with the original trilogy. Stuff that wasn't possible back then, obviously they've lost the opportunity because Mark Hamill's now an older guy, you can't get back. I'm with you, Steve, and take guys like Luke and put him in story now. If you can rotoscope Leia, who was also performed by Carrie Fisher, she was not alive at that point, into a film, i.e. The Rise of Skywalker, then what's to see you can't take something like this, it's fucking AI.
Yeah.
What's to see in a year's time, 2 years' time, this hasn't evolved to the point where it's almost seamless. It's indecipherable between live action and obviously AI, and you're not really able to. I think we're getting quite close now.
Yeah.
Then what's to see you can't scope this into a film and then have it acted by a Sam Whitlock or someone of that ilk.
They could do
That's what I'm saying, Stephen. I mean, we're getting to the point where we've got 7, 10, 15 minute long fan films on YouTube. There's still some moments where they're janky, but in the main, I sat and watched this and I was just flabbergasted watching the stories there. The shots are there. Technically, he's done a really good job of making this very cinematic. The music's there. You're getting to that point now where you take the Timothy Zahn from Geology with Mara Jade, so they're not going to do that, Disney. Because they've got the grumpy old hermit, disenfranchised, piss-stained, green malt drinking look. They want to cling on to. They don't want to see this character have a semblance of happiness because, of course, as we'll get into shortly with JJ, the story's moved on from Luke. Fucking clown.
One episode at a time.
Idea, honestly, man. Yeah. But Stephen, you could have Mara Jade, you could have Thrawn, you could have crazy old wizard, fucking clone Jedi. And that old school, there's nothing to say these channels can't do it.
There's nothing more I would love to see is the continuing stories of Lando as well.
Yeah.
A really interesting and fun character, and Billy D. Williams, played it perfectly. And there's so much scope there. We got obviously a bit of a backstory, and obviously the Solo film with him and Donald Glover, and I thought it was really good the way they did that, and I just wanted more to see about this character after the events of Return of the Jedi. Obviously, we've seen some of the YouTube AI stuff over the past week or so, John, with the stuff on, I think it was Bespin, wasn't it?
Yeah.
it just looked great, you know. And again, there's some moments in it that just linger too long, you know. It's not got a natural flow about it. But listen, I'm not criticising it because I certainly wouldn't know where to start how to make these films. But characters that you love, you know, and one of them is obviously Lando, and I'd love to see maybe a web series on him, you know, after the events, because there's that story. And as much as obviously I've got criticism for the Rise of Skywalker, I found it strange and a bit jarring that Luke Skywalker and Lando teamed up to go on quests, you know, and I just couldn't picture it. But this might help. This might help bridge that gap to make it a little bit more believable.
Well, if you watch the expanded universe stuff, Lando was making hot chocolate for Luke. To help his insomnia there. Couldn't help it. It's Jedi, meditate. Just go to sleep. Need hot chocolate. Those elves you keep out. You keep them out, you keep the interesting stories, interesting characters like Jedi.
I didn't realise Jedi was shift work. You know, you had to be up in the morning. What cares if you don't sleep? Nothing to do anything.
Exactly. It's fancy free, as they like to say. So you can do whatever you want. If I can have a fucking all-nighter, I can do 3-4 all-nighters in a row, and it makes no difference to look. The guy is literally as free as any fucking character or person could possibly dream of being. I mean, if I still like my sleep enough. I hate sleep, but also like it. So I'm kind of conflicted. I was about to say, if I could do it, I wouldn't. I've experienced psychosis almost 40 degree heat after a whole night, nearly 2 days up. I don't want to go back to that again. But Steve with this, I'll never get back to that again. Literally, I think 10, 8 a.m. one day, all the way through. Next day, then the whole other day. Yeah, absolutely nearly 2 days. Tripping. Time was slowing down. That's as close as you'll get to taking DMT. It's possible without taking DMT. I was almost seeing the machine that they talk about. And the abstract shapes, the universe was starting to deconstruct. I was like Maca on LSD or whatever it was, there a fucking 8 levels or whatever he said. That was me. Oh, and the grassy knoll in the Alton Towers. Not a place to be doing it either, fucking hellhole. But no, Steve, there's so much potential with this technology. There's a reason all these companies are investing in it, high investing in it. It's just from a sort of workplace standpoint, ultimately it will replace everyone. Let's not kid ourselves. But in terms of artistic output, we've always seen the evolution of art. We've seen different mediums of storytelling. I mean, you didn't have animation 40, 50, 60 years ago. You had cartoons hand-drawn. Then they evolved into Pixar and companies like that. Then we evolved into a sort of mixture of the two. Done really well, like Paddington and whatnot. Natural evolution would be using AI for art. We're already seeing it in music. You can argue whether it's good or not. I'd argue it's absolutely shite. But in terms of visual media, this is no different to me than cartoons or animation. It's just another way of storytelling.
One of the appeals to any art form, whether it be painting or music or acting, is the effort and thought process that comes from the human brain. And it's one of the things in terms of our sort of music appreciation and the artists that we do enjoy is, listen to Bowie, and you're thinking, how did he come up with that line? How did he come up with that structure? And that's part of the enjoyment, certainly from our point of view. Not everyone's the same. People can use music as just in the background, as ASMR, I suppose, in a way, but everyone gets a different thing out of music. But certainly from our point of view, it's concerning. And I would say it's the same for acting as well. John, we talk about people like Al Pacino, in Heat, those particular scenes that we always talk about, that's all him, the director can only do so much. But when you ask the actor to do something, he will do, especially someone like Al Pacino. And if you've got Michael Mann as a director, he'll let you go so far. He'll let the reins loose on your performance, and see where it goes. And that's just one example. You can't lose that. You can't lose that integrity. You can't lose that spontaneous decision making from an actor in that one scene. Because when that's filmed and it's in the can, You know, that happened. That happened in real life, in real time. That actor did that in that moment, you know, and that's the way that we look at film as well. That's why we do what we do on YouTube. There is that concern. There is that concern from AI.
Yeah. But Stephen, I can hear myself for fucking 2 seconds to deal with that.
No.
I'm going to take the headphones out completely and I'll just put you through the speaker, Stephen. Bear with me. Better. Right, we'll crack on. No, Stephen, I definitely think it's a tool that can be used moving forward for filmmaking, for a whole degree of different arts and whatnot. And it can be used well. Just with the sort of caveat that there has to be the human touch, like you said. You have to have a human brain overseeing it. You can't have shite getting regurgitated or churned out just for the sake of churning out shite. It has to be high quality. And that's why I've never really understood this criticism of AI in art. Obviously, if you're plagiarising a Van Gogh or a Van Gogh, as I think the Dutch would call him, or other artists, then that's sort of walking a copyright tightrope where you're maybe hoodwinking future generations into thinking Van Gogh or whatnot, Picasso created this painting. But if it's an actual person like myself or yourself, for instance, who want to create a piece of art and they use that medium of AI to create artwork, then I've got a fucking AI Labrador on my wall. It's pretty fucking impressive to my eyes. I like art. I've got an actual proper paintings on my wall as well, done by a human. I don't view that as any different. That's just another form of creating art. It's no different to using crayons or fucking pastels or water paint or whatever, oil painting, acrylic. Doesn't make any difference. It's just a way of creating art to me, and the same can be said about video. Video or just film or TV, utilise every tool you're sort of, I don't know what the word would be, your usage, I don't know, I can't think of the fucking word off the top of my head. Utilise every tool at your disposal, that's the word I'm looking for, to create interesting stories. And ultimately, Stephen, Star Wars and Disney, they're not giving the fans what they want.
No.
They're not giving us compelling stories with characters that we grew up loving. Multi-generational characters like Luke Skywalker and Han Solo and whatnot. So if they can't do it, then I'm glad that this technology is starting to come out and we can give people who are invested in these characters, who have a knowledge of filmmaking and can do it right, who can use the technology to create it,
John,
the opportunity to do stories with Luke Skywalker that fit what fans want. That isn't some disgruntled, buttered old guy that tried to murder his nephew. It's something that's more in line with what George wanted to obviously do with the character. So I think it's exciting times. It's dangerous times as well. You need to walk the balance. John, I did see the comments, by the way. There was an echo. I think it was me. I think I kept I had the output and input selected. Also, I check my mic before I come on to make sure my mic's working. I think I forgot to uncheck it. You should be golden, Stephen. It's just me waffling shite. I'll be echoing like a motherfucker for the first 25, 30 minutes, which is a shame, but look, most people can't understand me anyway, so can you not hear me?
I can hear you.
I can't hear you. So, you know what I'll do? I've got speakers on. I don't know why I can't hear you. I've literally got the speaker on and I've got it selected as speaker. So I'll just put my fucking AirPods back in again. Can I hear you now? Can you say something?
Well, yeah. Give me a chance. Yeah, what I was going to say, John, in terms of where we're... can you hear me?
I can hear you, yeah.
Right, okay. Right, so what I was going to say in terms of... John, you can't tell me that Disney and Lucasfilm are not aware of these videos on YouTube from these creators that are doing these AI videos. I suspect that they want to see audience reaction to these. They want to see what the engagement is before they pull the rug from under these YouTube channels' noses through likeness and copyright. I think that's what's going to happen. I think they'll let them do their little...
Hang themselves.
Yeah, I think they're going to allow them to do this for so long, and then they're just going to pull the rug away from them. Or they'll employ these people. That's the other thing. We've seen it many times, John. You see the amount of people that are hackers across the world who are employed with the likes of Microsoft, etc., Apple. People that are talented, and Disney and Lucasfilm will know that these people out there are talented. They're probably worked in studios, like you said. And I think, it's just a matter of time. They'll bring these people in to work on these projects that they're doing at the moment in their spare time. So,
Steve,
I don't think these channels will last.
No, I'm amazed they're still going just now. But to be fair to Disney, Stephen, they have they've always been quite lax with copyright. I think they're quite secure and confident in themselves.
Sound.
What's that?
I've got no sound. No sound coming through on YouTube.
You've no sound? You're unmuted.
It was fine earlier on. I don't know what happened. It's when you said that you heard your voice coming through the headphones. That's when it stopped.
Yeah, but I just switched off monitor on my side. You should still be on. You're coming through track 1 and you're unmuted. Can you speak again, Stephen?
I think it's coming through now. It's such a delay, by the way. I don't know what's going on. Yeah,
it's a bit of a shambles, this stream, to be fair. We've not... Yeah. When was the last time you actually streamed? Clearly, we're rusty. We need to get our shit together.
Probably about a month ago, but yeah. I've said this and I'll say this again. Get this OBS.
Yeah. Clearly rusty as fuck as well, because it's been a bit of a technical shambles, to say the least. But yeah, look, Stephen, they may employ them. I'm amazed the channels have been allowed to go for as long as they have. But that's Disney. They don't really give a shit when it comes to copyright. We've seen that over the years reacting to stuff. They don't really care. They let a lot go. I think they're pretty confident in what they do, and they don't really worry about it. I think they almost want to appease the fans in a strange way, even though they like to piss them off with the content they put out for hundreds of millions of dollars every, fucking 10 years now, because I think they've realised they've made an enormous arse of it and have to take a break. But they've always been pretty lax with copyright stuff, but I'm amazed some of this is still getting allowed to go, because it's getting pretty near to the bone now in terms of visuals and the way it's getting put together. And I can see the likes of Filoni maybe coming in and putting a stop to this in a strange way, even though he's a voice of the people and a fan favourite. I think he'll view that as a threat.
Well, I think YouTube as well, because we've already seen it with the likes of those fake trailer YouTube channels. Screen Culture was one of them, I think. And they've pulled the rug away from them. So they are homing in a lot of the AI stuff. Because I think a lot of people out there, just your ordinary sort of film goer, can be easily conned. Certainly with trailers, John, we've been there with concept stuff, believing it was real, and I think we've come a long way since then. But I just think it's just a matter of time before YouTube and the studios come after these people. They're either going to embrace them and give them jobs, or they're going to go to town with them.
Listen, Stephen, I hope we don't. I hope they let it go, because it's another avenue of storytelling, and ultimately I think people are smart enough to realise, well, in the main, what is Disney content and what's not. By the way, it got nearly 7,000 views, that concept reaction, because I think we put it out and then people came to it after the fact, looking for the actual reaction, and I think it was a year earlier. Those were the days, 7 years ago. Reacting to concept trailers, getting hoodwinked left, right and centre. Stephen, speaking about Star Wars and Disney and being shit, and also missed opportunities, Mark Campbell was in a round table, I think, Hollywood Reporter interview, and obviously he was asked about regrets, I think. And I think he said that it was the lack of reunion between him, Carrie Fisher and Harrison Ford on screen. Yeah. He says, aren't we going to have a moment, all three of us get together to raise the roof? It'll only take 30 seconds. J.J. Abrams, the director, says, well, Mark, it's not Luke's story anymore. Why bring them back then, JJ? Why bring any of them back? If you're just going to tell a story about a shit character that no one gives a flying fuck about, with an actor who was wooden at the time, I think she's probably improved now, to be fair, then why even bother bringing them back?
John, I blame Harrison Ford for all of this. Because if Harrison Ford said no, I'm not coming back for episode 7, 8 or 9, Mark Hamill would not have came back for episode 7, 8 and 9. And he's went on record to say that. He's saying, if Harrison's saying yes, then I have to do it, because then I'll become public enemy number one with the Star Wars community if I say no to this. And I think Carrie Fisher had already signed on anyway, but they were hoodwinked a lot at the time, John. This was, they had those names signed up, those actors signed up for 7, 8 and 9. And then obviously the buyout from George Lucas to Disney happened, and they're contractually obliged to fulfill those obligations for those films, but it's all hindsight, I suppose, and I know that Mark Hamill's talked about this time and time again in terms of the big reunion we never got. But it is what it is, and what would it have been? You say 30 seconds. Yeah, it would have been nice, but it would not have covered up the shit show of those 3 films, to be honest with you.
No, it wouldn't.
It wouldn't have mattered in that sort of bigger picture.
There was no creative coherence. You had 2 directors. It was supposed to be 3. We could have almost saved it, to be fair, with your man who did Jurassic World. I forget his name. What was he called again?
Trevorrow, yeah.
Colin Trevorrow, yeah. We could have saved it. I think he was going to have looked more hands-on in the final part of the story. But no, they didn't want that, because obviously big Star Wars fans, Kathleen Kennedy, J.J. Abrams and Rian Johnson and all the other people involved, big Star Wars fans obviously hate Luke Skywalker and don't want him to have a prominent role in the Skywalker saga.
Weird.
Well, let's put a fucking Palpatine in the prominent role of the Skywalker saga, then have a claimed Skywalker at the end. That's not how lineage works. That's not how it works. You don't claim a name with another person and say, I'm a Skywalker. No, you're fucking not. You're a Palpatine. Just colossal, Stephen. A colossal balls up. And I'm glad Mark's coming out and finally broaching it, because for a long time he was playing the political game. I think he realises now that his chances of getting a role in one of these films is pretty much done. Or any content is done. He's had his day. And now he's just coming out and fucking firing like Carlito's way. Boom, 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 boom. Firing shots without fear of retribution. And telling people what we already knew. We've seen him in the press junkets after the film. We knew he wasn't happy. It was an almighty balls up, which was just further doubled down on with what we've seen in The Last Jedi. Turn them into this bitter, twisted, evil version of a character that no one recognised. Stephen, Filoni, Lin-Wen Brennan, I don't think that's her name, I think. Is it not Double Barrel? What is your thoughts on this before we round up this fucking calamitous live stream?
It was inevitable it was going to happen someday that she was going to step down, but the problem with that is that she's going to ensure that the people that are sort of taking her place are going to have the same agenda, if you like. And Filoni for a long time I was a fan of, particularly maybe 15, 20 years ago. But ever since, sort of cracks have kind of appeared, with his agenda as well. And I don't know the other lady, to be fair. I can't really comment on someone I don't know anything about, John, but I felt it's an in-house decision, and yourself, you've seen it many times with your football club.
Yeah.
In-house decisions don't work. They never work unless it's someone that's coming in with their own ideas. I don't believe for a minute these two are going to have their own ideas and how they want to take this deal forward. It's going to be a blueprint. It's already been laid out for them with the current president, and it's just going to continue on, I felt a fresh approach, a new person coming in, someone perhaps not even a Star Wars fan. You mentioned the other day, John, Tony Gilroy. I don't think for a minute he would want to take on the role of a president, a studio of a president. That's not what he does. That's not what he's good at. But someone in the vein of someone that can see the potential in a franchise, who may not be a fan, but has expertise in other things. And we've seen it work with Tony Gilroy. We've seen it work with Rogue One.
I think that's what we're getting with this lady. I forget what her name is. I think she's going to be the most sort of hands-on project managing, overseeing the nuts and bolts of the operation, whereas they're just going to let Dave Filoni be the sort of film guy, be creative and deal with the film side. She's going to deal with business in a sense. I think she's currently, you can see there, she oversees all the divisions and deals with business strategy. So hopefully she can do a better job of strategising than Kathleen Kennedy has done in the last 10 years, because my fucking God, her strategies have been horrific. Let's hire an actor, let's hire directors, let's fire them. Let's announce films are going to come out and then they just disappear into purgatory. Let's do that again.
Be her legacy. That will be her legacy, that she's the president/producer of this said studio, who has announced more films that didn't get announced than the ones that actually were made. That's quite a tragic legacy to leave behind, if you don't mind me saying.
Well, I mean, Stephen, it is what it is. She'll point to her producing career with her husband and say, well, look what the great films I did. I helped make happen. Look at the great talent I worked with. Aren't I great? Sniff the farts. I got a 2-point-something billion dollar movie and then it fell to shit. That's what she'll
put that on your LinkedIn, Kathleen.
Exactly. The reality is she completely split the fan base down the middle. In fact, I'd say it was probably 70-30. With the divisive, just overly politicised pish masquerading as entertainment. And obviously that's just films. You start talking about the Acolyte and the TV shows and all the shit that's went on there. Just a disaster. And I bet people 25 years ago watching the prequels, who were shitting on the prequels and moaning about George, would do anything they possibly could to get back and be good little boys and girls to George, so that he wouldn't sell his share of fucking Star Wars and Lucasfilm off to... What was it he called them? I'm not going to say it because it's litigious and we might get done. George can do it because he's got... He's got that kind of wealth that allows him to say whatever he wants. He don't give a fucking shit. I'm not going to sue him. I ain't got that kind of wealth. So I ain't going to say it.
I don't really that mindset either, to be honest with you, John.
No. But needless to say, just a disaster. Her term has been a disaster. Her reign has been a disaster. And I'm glad she's buggering off, to be quite frank. I'm not a massive Dave Filoni acolyte. I'm not one of these people that kind of wants to sniff the guy's farts and worship the ground he's on. But it is what it is. He's done decent with Rebels and Clone Wars. I think he's got a little bit too much of an infatuation with... I'm blank on her name. Fucking hell. Ahsoka Tano.
Yeah.
I think he needs to get over that. But look, he certainly can't do worse than Kathleen Kennedy. He is a Star Wars fan. And he was obviously working under George. He got to pick his brain, so he understands the essence of Star Wars better than Kathleen. So if we have a more sort of... What's the word I'm looking for here? Not diplomatic, a more... God, what the fuck would you call it? I can't think of the word just now. A more sort of free-spirited working environment at Lucasfilm, where you've got the business person, you've got the creative person, and we let the creative person do their magic. It can only be good. What's the word? It's terrible, I can't remember that word. Shocking. Democratic. A more democratic environment at Lucasfilm, where Dave can do his thing, Linman can do their thing, and hopefully magic happens. Stephen, I'm a Star Wars fan. I want Star Wars to become brilliant again. I want them to get their shit together. But there'll always be a bad taste left in the mouth about the handling of Luke, Leia, Han, the sequels. And if they can work in tandem with fans and AI to retell some of these stories with Luke, and maybe they can redeem the shit show that was the sequels by filling in the gaps and letting the people see the adventures he also went on. Lando, all of the gang, using a combination of animation, AI and whatnot, then it might work out all right in the end. But I strongly doubt it. Strongly doubt it. I don't trust them. Bastards. Look what they did to, I was about to say look what they did to Mickey, I don't know why. I don't know what they did to Mickey Mouse. I stopped watching Mickey Mouse when I was about 5. I don't think I was ever a fan of Mickey Mouse. It was a creepy bastard of a character. Just really creepy. You go back and watch those old school Mickey Mouse films, they're haunting. It's like Ross and Friends without the laugh track.
Yeah.
And he just comes across as a psychopath. Mickey Mouse is sheer fucking horror. Sheer nightmare fuel. He's like a Nosferatu but in a cartoon. Horrendous. Nothing redeeming about that character. But look, man, I'm done. Are you done, Stephen?
Yep.
Hopefully no echoes on my voice. Hopefully you can hear Stephen. Bit of a technical cluster. You know what? This stream, it's like going back to the very first stream post-COVID, where it was filmed on a phone, it was filmed on a MacBook. Fucking shambolic. I was wearing a fucking Sesame Street t-shirt. Looked like Elmo. It was just a shambles. Absolute shambles. We were zoomed in after that. I went down an era of zooming right in. Don't want to smell too much because I've got plaque. I've not been to the dentist now. I need to go and get that addressed. But we'll get back on the horse, Stephen, and I'm sure it'll be better moving forward. With that said, what's your thoughts on Star Wars? What's your thoughts on the future of Star Wars? Do you want to see AI continue to evolve to the point where it's almost indistinguishable from reality and used as a tool, not just by fans, but by other sort of creative minds, directors, actors, whatever, animators? You want to see it being used as a tool moving forward. Can it save Star Wars? I think it can if Disney gets on board and collaborates with fans. But regardless, if they don't collaborate and they just allow them to continue making these interesting stories as the tools become more readily available, then I think we'll get redeeming Star Wars content regardless. Share your thoughts though on anything that we spoke about, on me echoing like a motherfucker for the first half hour. Gig. That's not what it would have been because it's not a stutter. It would just have been an echo. Anything at all in the comments, that's the place to put it. Like the video if you've enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon to get notifications, and until the next time, what was left to be said is thank you for watching this, and bye-bye.